All right, I guess I got to hammer again the 4% rule because I don't understand why everyone doesn't get this. All right, so I'm reading an article in Investor Business Daily the other day, IBD, which I'm a fan of. I got to subscribe to it. I haven't. I just got so much stacks of stuff of reading literature. I just can't keep up. Investors Business Daily, their editorial page is first rate. Probably supplants Wall Street Journal's editorial page nowadays. Wall Street Journal editorial page was the reason you bought the Wall Street Journal. I'm not so sure anymore, especially given that there's so many journal folks who write, the journalists from the Journal and the New York Times. They change like we're changing underwear. It's nuts. They're basically the news section of the Wall Street Journal is leftist. And you can see, I remember Jackie Calms used to write for the Wall Street Journal, and then she went over to the New York Times and another of other people as well. Brett Stevens at New York Times, he's on the editorial page, but that's the Brett Stevens is kind of the people on the Wall Street Journal editorial page. I got no qualm with that guy, but I'm not paying for that. But anyway, IBD is pretty good. Their tracking poll, by the way, for presidential elections is superior. You know, people on the right talk about Rasmussen, it was fine, it was great. Until it wasn't great, and that was great again. People on the left talk about 538. It's fine. It was great until it wasn't great, and who knows what it'll be this year? We just don't know. IBD has been pretty stellar across the board. Actually, I would look at IBD if you're looking at presidential politics. They're not going to release that, I think, until the convention for the RNC now. All right. Anyway, they had an article that talked about don't discard the 4% rule yet, and this was just a bad article, man. They even referenced Kitces. And I think even Bill Bangin, actually. And Kitces is, I don't even know if he was attributed directly to this article in the IBD, but Kitces' argument is like the 4% rule historically, 2/3 of the time, if you took 4% a year out, you actually had double the amount that you started with after 30 years. I completely agree with that, completely. That doesn't validate the 4% rule, though. As it is today, it just doesn't. Someone else was saying the reason the 4% rule is becoming the redhead stepchild is because the interest rates are so low. And when Bangin came up with the 4% rule, 10-year treasuries are at 5, and now they're at 0.7 or something like that. And he said, but we can get other investments to offset that lower interest rate. And this guy was talking about emerging markets, bonds, and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, whatever. But that's a lot more risk, and we don't know what the volatility of emerging market bonds are, that's for sure. So I don't know if you can just say, look, the 4% rule is predicated on bonds giving you about 4 or 5%. Well, if treasury bonds are doing that, we can go out into the yield curve and get higher bonds with more risk, and that will supplement or take over, I guess, the lack of interest rates on the 10-year treasury. Okay. That's a risk. I'm not sure if you can validate that simply because how much time do we have in emerging market bonds to go back to 1926 as Bangin did? Obviously, the Bangin thing, the problem with that, of course, is the non-correlated or the highly correlated 30-year rolling period. So I've done a couple of videos last couple of days on that. If you have a 30-year rolling period from 1930 to 1959, a 30-year rolling period from 1931 to 1960, they are using the same data in 96% of the time. That's not statistically relevant. It's just not. So be it as it may, 4% rule is stuck, and now some people are starting to see the fallacy of that, which I appreciate. All right, however, going back to IBD, they said the 4% rule isn't dead yet. And then Kitces at the very end said, it's awful hard to see how the 4% rule doesn't still stick. So this is the problem. All right, well, look at that tree. That tree is getting ready to, let's see if you can see that. Well, there's some power. That's why you want your power. That's why you want your power lines underground right there, my friends. I know some of you guys are in that transmission distribution business. I am not, but look at that tree. That's going to fall on the first sign of freezing weather. That's going to fall on that power line. And, look at one right there, too. Yikes. Let's see if you can't see that. Make sure I don't get hit. Can you all see that one right? I'll get closer to it. It's right on top of this. Yeah, this is going to be bad here. Hold on just a second. Yep. I think you guys can see that, can't you? Right there. Yeah, right there. Look at that. What do? You call Sawney Electric? I don't even know. That's who I got my electric from, Sawney. But I'm not even sure. Are they the ones who actually own the transmission lines or distribute? What are these? Transmission or distribution lines? I always forget. Are they the ones who owns it? Because there's just one of the power companies around here. Yeah, that's not good, man. All right, so let's go back to the 4% rule. Yeah, there's another one right there. It's a small land, but I got a feeling we might be out of electricity if they don't get that rectified. All right, so back to the 4%. So Kitsis' argument, and I'm paraphrasing him based on the IBD article that I read, it was that, look, the 4% rule is going to be hard to beat. You know, 2/3 of the time, you had more than double what you put in there, even after taking 4% a year out adjusted for inflation. You know my thoughts on the 4% rule, because you're not spending, doesn't increase with inflation until you die. That's just silly, but I get it. The safe withdrawal rate says, this is what we calculated to make sure that you never run out of money. Thus, at 100% of the time, you have money left. All right. Now, just reading an article right now, Barron's, who says why the 4% rule is dead, and this is from 2019, and they're interviewing some lady who says, the 4% rule told you that if you took 4% a year out adjusted for inflation, you had a 100% probability of success, i.e. Your money would last, all right? But she goes, now, even if the 4% rule is only down to 90%, would you get on a plane if it only had a 90% probability of success? No, and that's the problem with the 4% rule this lady's arguing, that you would not get on that plane if it only had a 90% probability of success. That's just so infantile and so stupid. I'm sitting there thinking, someone actually wrote that and published it? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? One is that you're dead. One is that if I get on the plane and it crashes, even if it's only got a 10% probability of crashing, I'm dead. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm gone. Right? 90% of the time it doesn't crash, I'm fine. 10% of the time it does, I'm dead. The 4% rule, if you run, you're not dying. You still have income. You still have Social Security. You still have your house. I'm just checking to see what turtles I can save, because I'm the turtle savior. You still have your house you're living in. You still have Social Security. You still might have a pension. You can always downsize, all these kind of different things. A whole lot different between saying you're running out of money or running out of liquid assets. You still might have stuff you could sell. You know, Roberto Clemente rookie card. You still might have some kind of assets. Either way, you're not dead. You just downsize. You just tighten your belt. That's a whole lot different than freaking dying in an airplane crash. Oh my goodness. The idiocy of people in this business is boggling. This must be how Nassim Nicholas Taleb feels about statisticians who use invalidated data to, quote, prove a point, unquote. It's nuts, man. I don't see any turtles. That's good. You can't do that. I mean, I guess you could. This lady did, and she's in Barron's. I'm like thinking, come on, man. Let's just some common sense to equate dying and losing everything in a catastrophic accident, which doesn't happen very often. I mean, it's not even a 90% chance of even your plane landing. It's like a 99.99999% chance. To a 4% rule where you ran out of liquid assets is absurd. Anyway, just figured I'd share that with you. I'd like to hear your thoughts. We'll see you.